obviously from the last game, you're trying to educate and we're trying to learn. We've got 2-0 up. Our second goal's a fantastic goal, a fantastic finish, and we're totally in the ascendancy. And again, we're just making naive mistakes with the ball and without the ball, and we're getting punished probably as tough as you can be punished. You know, just conceding the 96th minute, I think it was really painful. We'd have all have gone home delighted if we'd have seen the game out. Unfortunately, the reality of the learning curve at times, it's still painful. We've got to learn. It's really tough. As you can imagine, the dressing room's really flattened down. But for the large part, we played some really good stuff. We really looked strong. We got into a fantastic lead. And at 2-0 at home, in front of a great crowd, we're not in them positions yet where we've got that street craft or streetwise where we see games out. We give teams easy goals. And unfortunately, while we're giving 2 goals a game away, we're going to find it very difficult to win games. So we all know what we have to do.
Hello again, my friends. And you are my friends. And it is a very difficult thing to do when you do give 2 goals away to a side that, let's be honest, we'll be lucky to be in the division come May. But that's what we did. We slipped again. And it's, of course, Sunday, 29th of August, 13:33. It is your flagship podcast. I'm, of course, your host, Martin the Governor Lambert. We are inside that 24-hour period window where it's too high and too low after victories and defeats. About 19 hours on. How are we all feeling? It was, roller coaster of emotions. And how are we feeling 19 hours on? Feeling better? Feeling worse? Still really angry? I'd love to hear from you all as we go through the evening, this afternoon rather. I personally am sick to the back teeth. I didn't sleep a wink. I was in absolute agony. My mouth hurt. My back hurt. The football team is shite. The players are shite. I'm not happy. So when you can't get relief from the one thing you enjoy on a Saturday afternoon, and you can't drink on a Saturday evening because of the antibiotics, what do you do? As always, there is absolutely loads of comments flying in. We love to see it. Comic Book Guy says, hi lads, great final whistle show yesterday for me. Tanner playing tennis with their opponents every week. They're so in the first half and hitting aces and then sitting back. I have no problem with trying to keep a 2-0 lead, but Cook's team isn't equipped for that. A Lambert or McCarthy team could do it, but Cook team needs 3 or 4. Thank you for the kind comments on the full-time show. That has hit great numbers already. Over 1,500 of you have watched it. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you ever so much for that. I would rather be broadcasting a more positive show after a 2-0 victory, but alas, I support Ipswich Town. Jim, absolutely, Colin, I've still on it. I'm disappointed we have to give the team and manager time. Right, well, we'll discuss that in just a second. As always, you can support us through our Ko-Fi links. Every pound goes back into making this show and all our shows an absolute better experience, better content, better quality. I can't wait for the stuff we've ordered for the post-game show to arrive. That should make it a lot better, get you more involved. Really looking forward to that. And Joshua, who has seemingly got lost, says Sunderland are going to win the league. Well, while I let you process that bombshell, I'll bring Matt in. I should just sit at home all night playing playing the intros because they make me feel so much better, you know, when I watch them. Like, how are you, Matt?
I'm still annoyed. I nearly got the pineapple costume out to cheer myself up.
I ain't going to cheer no one up. In fact, that show don't exist. What show? What pineapple costume?
Oh, yeah.
Must say a big shout out to Cruncher. I hope he's okay. Last minute substitution. Yeah. You know, we'll mention substitutions as we go through the course of the show, of course. Barry Mann says, as depressing as it is to be giving away these stupid goals, I'm still loving the fact that we're back watching the club. We love playing some very exciting football, and I'm confident we'll be okay. How are you feeling? I mean, you say disappointed, frustrated. You were a big Cook fan, big Haladki fan. They're letting you down.
They've let me down. Shout out Lee Brown in the chat there. Nice to meet you yesterday, Lee.
Okay,
yeah, they've let me down. They are letting me down. I mean, I'm getting a little bit fed up of Cook's comments in the thing. You know, we haven't got the streetwise, haven't got the street craft. We've got like 11 novices out there. I mean, Morecambe have made just as many signings as we have, sitting on 7 points right now, 2 wins, draw, and 2 defeats. So why are we suddenly got kid gloves on this kind of, we need a little bit more time. It's part of the learning curve. We haven't got 11 schoolboys out there. We've brought in some high-quality players from decent clubs. And for whatever reason, we couldn't see out the game against Wimbledon. I do have a soft spot for Wimbledon. I think if I was more of an impressionable child in the mid-'80s, I probably would have gone on and supported the Plough Lane crew when they won the FA Cup in '88. But of course, this is a different club now. But that is a game that we said, this is the game that can kickstart everything. You can go on a run from here, potentially. And you go 2-0 up. We're thinking, is it going to be 3? Which I said, I thought it'd be 3-0. Could it be 4? And then suddenly it's 2-2. They couldn't see it out. They couldn't see it.
You're right there, though. I think you're right there in the sense of kickstart, but not necessarily the way fans want it to. Because, you know, times at football clubs are defined by moments, sliding door moments, you like to call them. 2-1, 96 minutes.
Yeah.
That's just like, that could be, when you look back in years to come, the same way we look back at Shalabar's moment for Paul Hurst, buying him that little bit of extra time. Yeah. This could be, or Nathan Tyson scoring for Derby and then Paul Jewell getting locked in the DVD room. You know, they're all moments that you look back on and go, that was a pivotal moment. You spoke, first of all, before being Casey, our third member of the team today, about meeting some fans yesterday before and after the show. Let's discuss that, because that's a great positive. I love meeting people before and after the show. I was talking to a couple as the show was counting down. I could hear it in my ear. You could hear the intro going on, and we're talking about, you know, what the platform's done, etc., which is lovely. How good is it seeing people that have watched us?
You've done about 40 quid in donations yesterday, didn't you, Cash?
The platform did about 40 quid. I don't do nothing.
People were throwing money at him left, right, and centre, everybody. No, it's great, isn't it?
Like a Hooters girl.
We started this platform with something to do during lockdown and to keep people connected and talking about the club while there was no games going on, which I think we did quite successfully. and then suddenly people are jumping off there from being like digital and on screens, as we see today, to being in front of us and we're chatting away. So it's all good. It's all good. Good atmosphere. So that's the plus point of everything. And of course, we can all, you know, lament over results together rather than just sort of skulking off to our cars or trains or whatever it might be. But it's just not getting away from it. It's really disappointing. You know, we said on one of those first ever shows, I said, I thought Paul Cook would be really good for Ipswich Town. At the moment, he's not being very good for Ipswich Town. I can't get away from that. The facts are there. We're sitting in the relegation zone of the third tier right now after 5 games. And to hear him say, this is a pre-season for us, come on, that's bullshit.
Particularly when he treated Newport the way he treated Newport.
Exactly. You were a big advocate of playing the same team again, didn't you? And then, which he didn't, obviously. He made 10 changes. I think only Wolfenden survived. To not see the game out against Wimbledon is just like a huge blow. Yeah. And to lose a 2-goal lead makes it even worse. I keep thinking we lost the game. Of course, we did not. As Callie said to us yesterday, trying to find some positives, we're still undefeated at home, but we haven't won at home either. And it's just not looking good. It's not looking good right now. It's not getting away from it.
It isn't. Back to the fans though. Colin, who was with us yesterday, he definitely did speak to Hladky. Walked up to his Range Rover, knocked on his window, got him to wind it down.
He was in the traffic jam as we were broadcasting everyone. Colin went over and gave him a little thumbs up, which was good. And I think he appreciated that as well, didn't he?
I think he did. Yeah. And if you haven't yet stopped by to say hi or watch us, just come on by every home game. Sir Ralph Ramsey statue, pre and post game. You don't have to get involved. You can just watch us, as many do. Shout out to Sarah and her family who watch us, and various others. I know Callie was watching. Coxie was watching. We grabbed these people and get them involved in the end. But come and say hi. Right, Kate Riley. I'm not going to play her intro. Instead, I'm going to play what I hope. This is a risk. This is a risk because I've uploaded the video I think I've created for the awards.
Oh.
But I created several for TikTok. And I don't want this one because there's several and I don't want them. But yeah, because we have been awarded for a national award in the best EFL podcast. So I'm about to take a leap of faith here. Hey guys, a huge thank you to every single one of you Talking Town members that have voted for us in the Football Content Creator Awards 2021. We've been shortlisted as one of the 10 finalists in the podcast category. So now we need you. Look, we've already won just by being there. Some of the names we're next to are absolutely huge heavy hitters in the game. So we've already achieved more than I ever thought possible. Again, thanks to you, every single one of you. However, now we're there. Let's try and win it. So if you could go to footballcontentawards.com and fill in the form, jumping to best podcast Football League, there's 10 beautiful names, but one outstanding light, I hope you agree. Talking Town. Stick it down, vote, and who knows where the path will take us. Hey, I'm thankful you're with us. I'm thankful for you. And I can never say thank you enough for putting us in that position. Let's go and finish the job. Love you. See you at the end of this intro. I totally buffet. There's an intro attached to it. I didn't know that, but there we go. Kate Riley, welcome in. I was just about to go for you, and then the intro hit, and I was like, no, I left it in. How are you, Kate?
Yeah, I'm doing really well, and many congratulations to everyone. You especially, Gov. Matt, obviously, you've taken me under your wing and welcomed me onto this podcast too. And yeah, to all our contributors and supporters, thank you so much for helping us get this amazing nomination. Richly deserved, I'd say.
Thank you. It's no coincidence that we bring an award-winning journalist onto the team, and then the awards follow, or hopefully, touch wood, the awards follow. Saying the nominations, giving us some credibility there, Kate. Which many said we didn't have Matthew. Would you believe? Us?
Jake of it.
I know. We had Macaulay Bonne injured first. We had international break coming up first. But anyway, Kate. Lots of comments coming in saying welcome in, Kate. It's great to have you with us. Duncan says
tonight because I'm not on my laptop, I'm on the phone, so I'll go back and have a look. One thing I just wanted to say was research for this show was really difficult this week, and once again Talking Town comes out on top. Because of our geographical location, I could not listen to the BBC Radio Suffolk phone-in on demand, which is my usual go-to and sort of my barometer meter and kind of like one of my lifelines to home. So I'm sure me, as well as many fans around the world, were left really disappointed and a bit lonely. So if it wasn't for Talking Town and all your reaction, I don't really know what else we'd do apart from maybe turning to internet forums.
Well, don't be doing that sort of thing, Kate. Duncan Farrow, amazing how much podcast has been discovered in the finalist group. Truly remarkable and makes us proud. Stephen Parry, and you too, Kate, our international correspondent. You absolutely are. Right, links coming up in 10 minutes. Get yourselves ready. Get those phones, those laptops, those microphones, the webcams all ready to have your say. But something that isn't truly remarkable, sadly, at this moment in time is our football team. Due to Rich not being here, I'm going to change it slightly in a second. But, Kate, I want to get your thoughts and feelings first. You said a fortnight ago, Cookie probably may not be the man. A fortnight on, the results have been no point or 1 point, but it feels like no point. That's about as much as my French goes to, I think. And so that's a stretch. How are you feeling now? Are you doubling down on that as Milk Tray Man is? Or have you seen green shoots as Callie likes? Where are you?
Okay, so for some reason this week I was really up for the game. I was really up for following Premier League because of fantasy football. I was just really feeling it. I thought, this is it. I'm going to get 3 points. I'm going to break the duck. We're at home. We've got it. And when I checked Twitter this morning, when I woke up and I saw 2-2, it felt like a defeat. I asked our fans, our Talking Town supporters on Twitter, were there any positives? Someone made me laugh by saying, well, the pitch is nice and green. And it's like, oh my God, if that's the most positive thing we can say, I don't know. I'll be accused of being impatient, possibly bedwetter. I'm not in real life. Honestly. What is there? Tell me, what is there that tells you Paul Cook is the man? Please convince me.
Well, I'll hand it over to my esteemed colleague here for that one because he's been a big Paul Cook banner boy.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, we can only go on what we're seeing. Like, I'm reading a lot in the comments there, Kate. So I think everything's going to be okay. What are we basing that on right now? We did this a lot last season with Lambert. Oh, we've got the players. We changed that manager up. Everything will be okay. It wasn't okay. So we can only go on what the results we're seeing right now, and it's just not very good. I mean, after an hour yesterday, we're 2-0 up. cruising it. Still half an hour of the game to go. So then you've got going to, like, as the guys correctly said in East Anglian today, you're going to game management mode. For whatever reason, we couldn't see it out against a team arguably could have got relegated last season if it hadn't been for Piggott's goals. A guy who doesn't actually look like scoring for us particularly, even though he got a penalty yesterday and was given one by the dubious goals panel. Maybe more of that later, Martin, if we get to the goats. But I don't know. Is it a blessing that the Wickham game is now off? Maybe. Is there a chance to is it better to train than to have games to get this gelling process going? No one else seems to be now gelling. You know, Morecambe don't seem to need gelling. Beat Sheffield Wednesday 1-0 yesterday. I don't know. There just seems to be a lot of excuses right now. And what is Cook's record? 4 from 22? Is that what it is? Not
good. It's not good. And that's a question I've been asking for a while, Kate. Where is this trust being developed, and what are you basing it on, or is it a bit of blind faith? I think for a lot of fans, it's a bit of blind faith because they don't want it to go wrong or be wrong in many cases. I don't know yesterday, I don't think we played particularly well. So, but despite being 2-0 up, I didn't watch the game yesterday and think this is a team that's oozing class and just needs that final ingredient to be over the top 8 side. I didn't enjoy yesterday because from MK Dons the week before you drew, was a better game, but there was a point. I'd have taken yesterday and gone, great game, we won. But in reality, if we didn't win, it was. And people were saying we played well. Did we? I don't think we played well. No. I did say to the guys around me, who've all sat around me for 20 plus years, was this better than last week? And they said MK Dons performance was far better. And we scored quite early in that game, didn't we? Was the Bond goal after about 9 minutes or something in that game? The problem was I got a guy called Dennis. A guy called Dennis is by me. He sat there for about 25 years. And he said to me, it's quite good what I'm watching. It's not quite good enough. And he's probably got it quite right there. Piggott holds the ball up well, but there's no one there. Edwards is making great little runs, tricky runs, gets people off their seat, crosses the ball in. There's no one there. It's just, we're seeing nice little patterns of play, but there's no end result to any of it, if you see what I mean. We didn't play terrible. We just played like a mid-table side. Like we just played like a side that you could drift and bobble into 14. Yeah. And it's not a budget.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the signings we've made and the resources that have gone in, huge resources. I mean, look, we was having a debate in the week about and I think it was on a podcast, one of the third tier podcasts, one of the Football League ones, what the wages that Chaplin has taken to come down to Ipswich. Wimbledon must be on like an 1/8 of our resources, if not a 16th of what we've got. We couldn't beat them yesterday. It's just not good enough, and it pains me. And I'm not my usual happy self because I am a Cook ambassador, and it's not working out. It's not working out, and it's pissed me off.
It's upsetting me. Go on, Kate.
Has too much changed at the club all happened at once? Is that what we're seeing?
No, I don't buy into that philosophy. I don't.
But that was
changed a lot.
But where we were talking yesterday, Martin, when Hurst came in and got rid of everybody and brought in more players, we've basically done exactly the same thing, albeit with better quality players, I would say. Is it just too much? You might be right, Kate. I remember Mick Mills saying at the end of last season when Cook said he was going to be Demolition Man, and Mick Mills said that's a dangerous game to play in the summer to get all these people in, the transition into getting them ready for the new season and then to get results straight away. It's really, really difficult. But on the flip side of that coin, Morecambe have managed it.
And many teams at this level do, though.
Yeah, I'm just getting a little bit fed up with these kid gloves. It's always an excuse for Ipswich. And it's always ifs and buts. If only we could tighten that defence up a bit better. It's all talk, isn't it? It's all talk. It's all much easier said than done. If we can, if we could tighten the defence up, if we can cut out the silly mistakes. Well, we don't do any of those things at the moment.
No. Can you still hear me? Because my computer's just crashed. My screen is frozen. Yeah. So if you can still, good, bro. I'll keep talking then. What we don't want to be is too impatient and too over the top with our expectation, but or start being called such as a Leeds level of impatientness. But when you look at clubs like Leeds or Rangers or the big clubs that have high regard, have high standards, they don't accept this. Like, we're just drawn at home to AFC Wimbledon, who, if I said to you both now, I'm a time traveller and the bottom four is Cheltenham, Morecambe, AFC Wimbledon and one other, you wouldn't argue with me.
Yeah.
We've taken 2 points.
Mm.
At any point of the season, with 100 changes or 1 change from last year, and last year was no different either. With a caliber of player that can be argued was good or bad, Wimbledon took a point. They took 4 points off us. We didn't score a goal in either of those 2 games.
No, and that 3-0 was a real low point, wasn't it? At their place, right?
Yeah. And we all said Cookie's got a bunch of players he doesn't want, a bunch of players that he says aren't good enough. But this is different now. He's had the summer, his pre-season, his players, his recruitment. What's the excuse now? Because Friday he's talking about, Kate, I don't make excuses. Saturday, there's about 400 excuses as to why it was 2-2 and why it's not good enough.
He was practicing them for when he was on the phone to the States later that night.
Well, I think the States will be very patient, but there's going to be a level, surely. But I don't know. I'm just frustrated from seeing my football club at least not take 4 points.
I think Coxie made a really good point on the full-time show yesterday, where he said, look, 3 weeks ago we all rocked up for the Morecambe game. The game changer era started, all the new players, a lot of money's been spent. And it's almost like we've gone into Groundhog Day. That's the expression Coxie used yesterday. It's Groundhog Day. And he's right. It's almost like the same cycle is being repeated over and over again. I saw someone mention on Twitter, is Portman Road cursed? Which got me back thinking to Barry Fry when he was Birmingham City manager, and he was convinced St Andrews was cursed. So he brought a bloke in who said, you need to urinate in all 4 corners of the pitch of St Andrews to lift this curse. So Barry sunk down a few pints. Over the course of the day, he went to the 4 corners. They won 7 of their next 10. So there you go. What does that say?
You can find the Paul Cook suggesting it.
Yeah, get pissing, Cook. Yeah, we've got Louis Fenton here. How long does Cook get for you guys to sort this out? Chris Boyd, we had three shots on target yesterday, from what I remember. Paul Bird, as our backroom staff too raw and new to the challenge because they're new to the coaching roles?
That's a good point. I mean, we said that Friday night, didn't we? They're kind of novices, really, aren't they? I mean, Francis Jeffers was doing well at under 23 level for Everton as their manager. Gary Roberts, no coaching experience from I could tell. And of course, Liam Richardson may have been the key to all of Cook's success previously, potentially. And he's
but you say that, but then we have Freddie on the show when we appoint Cook, and he says he's very stubborn in the sense that he won't go from a plan A to a plan B. He'll make changes late. He won't use his subs effectively. And that was with Liam. Like, I don't think we're seeing anything here that you wouldn't see if Liam was in his ear whispering. I really don't. He's like all managers, very stubborn. And he says in his press conference, Gate, we have got a plan to change, but we've not changed yet. And we don't often have to change. It's contradicting himself a little bit, because in the in the Q&A me and Crunch went to, it was all about we'll have different ways of playing. Terrible accent, terrible impression. And then come on, these changes yesterday again.
I'm
bored of him. I'm bored of him already.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I don't think Cook. I know what Ben was been saying is Ipswich Town's Ben Adams, Milk Tray Man, was saying Friday night, might be in the chat here now. Hi Ben, if you are. He's saying, is this job too big for Paul Cook? I don't think it is, but for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to be sitting right. I don't know why. Just something seems off right now, and we're seeing it in the results. Is it because he transcends eras? So he was an Evans appointment that was brought in last minute, which Game Changers said publicly that they agreed with. But I could always think back to my Appleton at Lincoln was heavily mentioned as well for that role. I can't help but think back now. We've seen 2 players coming from West Brom, where Ashton and O'Leary probably still have strong connections, in Harper and Edwards. And Appleton obviously has strong links to West Brom. I just wonder if he was their first choice and they've gone along with Cook. It's a PR thing.
From my understanding, through conversations, no, Cook was their man. That's my understanding. That could be wrong, but I'm from conversations I've held, Cook was always their guy. Or top of their list.
Do you feel like they've had to say that? Like that was a
maybe publicly, but this is maybe, but this is more of a private chat. This is
behind closed doors.
Yeah. in the early days, very early days.
It just doesn't seem something right about it, does it? It's off kilter. There's just something weird about it. I can't even put my finger on it because
I just don't think he's the one for us.
Well,
yeah, well, the results are proving that right now. I don't think it's hysteria after 5 games because we do have to take into account last
season. There was no new manager bounce.
No,
he flubbed the playoff run for us, and now disastrous start.
Yeah,
I'd also. It's an awful start, or it's just a continuation of a hangover from last season, really. I would go as far, Matt, to argue maybe a little bit of the recruitment from the outside looking in doesn't make any sense. You brought Joe Pigott in. I don't think he really suits the way Cook wants to play with fast, tricky attacking wingers or strikers. Bon is more that. Fraser, I don't think he can work out what to do with the lad. Again, he's played him everywhere but 10. Except the last couple of weeks. But again, we're not using him so that maybe it's the effectiveness that MK did. Hladky, was he truly the number one target? Or was the guy from Scotland? And it was okay, so we can't get him, so we move.
The Swiss lad from Dundee United, yeah. He was heavily linked, wasn't he? Hladky came out of nowhere, really. I was really, as I said yesterday, I was really, and through the summer, I was buzzing when we signed Hladky. But he looked good. But for whatever reason, the irony, though, Martin, is he's gone from keeping the most clean sheets in League Two to conceding 2 a game. We're on 92 goals average at the moment to concede.
Big step up, though, isn't it? The big start. I've argued this. I was saying to Neil last week. How many times was Salford really pressed? Like, how many times did the opposition get a really good effort on their goal last year?
I can't.
Like, but Golden Glove is one thing.
Is it not a big step up? They've always been floating around the playoff places. Never quite made it, have they, Salford? But I don't think moving up to Championship might be a big step up. I don't think moving from League 2 to League 1 is. He came from the Scottish Premier League, am I right?
Yeah. We'll get a few people in a second, but I don't know. I would rather have had the goalkeeper with the most amount of saves, a bit like Ramsdale. Because if you're making the most amount of saves in a rubbish team, the idea is you go to a better team, you give them less saves, they still make the consistent number of saves, they are a better goalkeeper. Whereas clean sheets, to me, I don't know how Salford are in their division. I just wonder... It's a bit like saying most clean sheets in the top 4 Championship side. Well, how many times are they going to be really pressed to concede? And that's I don't know anything about the guy before he arrived. It was yourself and Crunch that were sort of big. Right, a few comments. Then we've got a few people coming in. The universe doesn't care. That's probably true. Never seen a man can contradict himself so much in interviews as Cook. He just spews words. Michael Finch, we're saying we need 4 or 5 more signings. Lee Brown, no noise from the owners. That's not sure that's a good thing. I think Colin was saying that. I don't think you'll get noise. Do you, Kate? Really? I think that's sort of Ashton's. There'll be internal conversations, of course, but it'll be more Ashton you want to be hearing from.
I think I don't know if they say something, then that's almost the kiss of death to Cook.
It is a little bit. The vote of confidence, as I said yesterday to Colin. Johnny, Tractor Boy Fingers, these comments don't surprise as we've all been disappointed for too many years, although they're not the result we want. The performances are a significant improvement. But I remember, and I'm going to get slaughtered for this, as I did the first time, I remember after Swansea, I said, this team, when it clicks under Hurst, will be a very good team, and it certainly wasn't. Now, am I saying they're going to get relegated? Of course I'm not. But results are facts. Performances come and go. We were crap under Lambert, but we're winning. I just want to take a 1 win at the moment. That'd be nice. Just one. Yeah.
I felt really despondent yesterday. The last time I felt really that despondent was when we lost that game on New Year's Day to Millwall. And I got back to my car thinking we are going to get relegated here. It's reality to me. And yesterday I was after the show and I was back in the car. I was thinking, Cook's really in the shit here. It really is. It's been a disaster right from the off. His record isn't very good. I feel like he's let me down because I was big on him, and I know Rich was as well. And where do we go? Where does Ipswich go for me? Okay, 5 games. Okay, I get it. It's still 41 games to go, but those games do go very quickly, don't they? Suddenly you're thinking, well, there's 30 games to go, and then suddenly this half the season's gone. We saw that with Lambert. So many wasted opportunities last season, and we were still sitting 6th when Cook came in, weren't we? Don't let those opportunities go. And I just feel like we're just dropping points against teams we should be beating, whether or not we've gelled or not. We've played 2 teams that got promoted. You'd expect to beat them at home with new players that have come in from divisions higher. We haven't managed it. And now, and now we've got Bon out. We've got the same old injury bullshit's come back around again. Hamstrings. Bon, Norwood, Toto.
Yeah. There's something about that. By the way, before Kate, you come in with your point, I see you're gearing up for there. I just want to say the groundsman yesterday, torrential rain all afternoon, and at half time they're watering the football pitch. Everyone was slipping on their asses first half. So what do you want to do? You want to go and put more water in it?
You know, this pitch needs water.
It doesn't mean anything. Just leave it. Kate, over to you.
Yeah, okay, so my first full season reporting on town was the Roy Keane season. We had a disastrous start that season, and it took him till October to get his first win at home. And I'm late October. Is that the worst start of the season? So Cook's got some way to go.
Yeah, it was. I mean, if you in his book he says they lacked goals, didn't they?
Yeah.
Don't seem to be lacking goals particularly. We're just conceding them, aren't we? But we've got good players at the back, so I don't get it. I'm not one of these people that thinks, if you shore up the back, the goals will still flow. It might not work that way. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think just you solve one issue of the pitch doesn't mean it's going to click in others.
James Spink, JS Kitchens and Carpentry. Want to sponsor a show, James? Give me a call. I was sat behind Louis Barry's dad at Burton, and he was livid when Cook took his son off. His agent swiftly left, and Barry's dad told his agent to tell Cook to play him next game. I'll bring in Ashley Simmons. Ashley, welcome in. First time caller to the show. Hopefully, be a contributor soon. You've heard our rants. Where are you on it?
I can't agree with Matt on this one at all, and I'm worried about our fan base, to be honest. Having been in a similar position as you previously, I was always the one who's asking the questions, and you very much know what's going on. Kate could probably sympathise as well, but the problem is last season was a write-off, in my opinion. If we get to when Cook came in, the players didn't want to play for the shirt. They were already halfway out the door. 6 of them signed for Colchester, so it just says everything about them. Cook had a free pass into this new season, so this is where it really counts for me. I mean, the comparisons with Hurst as well, they're completely unfounded. You can't compare the two. Hurst bought in League 2 players to play in the Championship. I think we've bought in solid League 1 players that are going to do the business in League 1. And they are showing what they can do in front of goal. And defensively we're not too good at the moment. I think that's our real frailty. That's the only frailty. I wouldn't read too much into what Paul Cook says at all, to be honest. And I've never listened to manager interviews. It is a PR ploy every week. Mm-hmm. Do we really need to hear what the manager says after that? We don't.
Word salad.
Don't say that, then all of us will be out of a job.
We can watch the game. I think what's important is we watch the game, we take it in, we come out, and we have our opinion of it. Yesterday, blown away at times by the play that we're having on the pitch. Some of the games we played this season at home, we've been really, really good. Just my only problem is our goalkeeper cannot seem to save. He couldn't even auto save a game on FIFA, let alone catch the ball. He's absolutely terrible. And quite rightly, I've heard people bounce Holy's name around. I wouldn't have Holy in at all if it was down to me, but I would like him back in goal for the next game. 100%.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree. I think the point with the Hurst comparison actually is like we were just saying. It was just that the transition, the new faces, the volume of faces coming in. No doubt we've brought in much better players than what Hurst brought in, but it's that bedding in, isn't it? He struggled with that as well. Yeah,
we've got a huge task. Having played in teams in the past, when you go and you play with all different players, new players, people you've never met before.
Yeah.
It's a lot of that training ground, getting to know people. And to be honest, it can take as much as 3 to 6 months to get to know who you're playing with. We haven't got that, obviously. I think any normal fan would say, look, 10 games. If we're not doing the business by that 10th game, then we really do need to look at the management situation. And that's why I think we should save that conversation for then. We should be talking about that then. Do you know what I mean?
The issue is, though, we're halfway there. And it's a results business, and the results since he came in as a whole haven't been great, but this year alone. And I don't know, Ash, if it is new faces that cause a switching off at the back post. for an equaliser or a goalkeeper palming it, as he did do at Millwall, back into the danger area and not away. That's a continuation of mistakes, and to me shows.
I tell you what I see every time one of these situations happens. If you look at the players, you always look at the one who's at fault for the goal or maybe at fault, and you look at them and they're looking around, looking for someone to blame. And I think it's the accountability. If you're taking accountability for your error and you're saying, yeah, that was me, that was my fault, I should have done this. Both times, both goals yesterday, it was the same player at the back post who'd forced that chance or forced that goal. Why is he being picked up? Who was supposed to pick him up? And apart from that, I've got a real gripe with Evans in centre mid. He's not a captain. He's not captain material.
No, totally agree.
Absolutely dismal as a player, in my opinion.
I can only ascertain through looking at the replays it was either Harper or Burgess, because Burgess is the guy that's nearest to the header or the guy that headers the ball, Hartigan, when he headers it, and Harper's the only one stood there on his own without a single player around him. So either one of those two. And speak about Harper, you speak about Evans there, and it's a fair point, but his midfield partner, he equally is culpable. He comes in and out of games at an alarming rate. He doesn't seem to be able to put together a good solid even 50 minutes. It's always a 20 here, then we'll go out of the game. Like second half, I forgot he was playing, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
He was like that against Morecambe as well. He lost the ball a lot, didn't he? He wants too many touches and then he lost the ball. You can see it's going to happen. I mean, I was looking back at the equalising goal yesterday. It's actually Piggott who ends up in the net. I think he was kind of central. Donatian seemed to be sort of flat-footed at the far part, at the back post. Where was Burgess and Wolfie? I think they were on the far post with Hartigan. I think Evans was in there somewhere. Ash, I think he was.
I don't think he's culpable for the goal. I don't think he's culpable for the goal, but maybe for the team. Like you said there, Gav, with the centre mids, like Harper, definitely. I think the jury's out on some of the players so far. You've got to give them enough time to gel. And it is that word gel. But you see some of those players, how they played yesterday. Wes Burns played out of his skin. Piggott played out of his skin for me. I think, it's maybe Daryl Murphy-esque at times, putting himself about, winning the ball in the air, getting it down to the next player. Edwards very quiet on the left-hand side. I think, I said to ignore Porker earlier, but a couple of weeks ago he said, we've got a match winner on the left-hand side. No one's played the ball to him. I think, the same at times there. He gets into positions, but no one's in the box in the first half. Yeah. How many times that ball going? We could have had 5 or 6 goals first half if someone had got on the end of those balls. I think there's a lot to take from it, but to be honest, we shouldn't be worrying about form at this moment in time.
Absolutely. Before I let you go, I really appreciate you coming on. You mentioned Hadladki there. I'll ask you a double question. First of all, both goals, do you think you could have done a lot better with both, or was it just the one for you? And then secondly, Walton from Brighton being linked this morning. Would you take that, and how quickly would you drive him here?
Okay, yeah. So he wasn't at fault for the first goal, I don't think. Okay. Very good goal, and they can take that way. The second goal for me is absolute peanuts. He could have picked that up so easily, and he's done that 3 or 4 times this season. Fluffed the ball. I know Matt said there about averages not leaking so many goals this season. Reality is hopefully it won't be the case, but we need to do better. And he's just not. He doesn't command his box, and I think that's what many people look at him and think, he's an easy target for criticism. He is, because he doesn't command his area. And I think someone like Holy, who may not be good in getting down to balls, he commands his area. No one will go near his 6-yard box if the ball came over the top. But do we need to bring in another keeper there? That's a question on everyone's lips. Do we bring in a new keeper? Walton is highly rated. He's going somewhere in his career. I can only assume. But how many other players we brought in that have been highly rated in that position previously and let us down?
This is it, and it'd be another player coming in for a fee, and you would have thought coming into play, particularly as he's if you beat off rivals such as Derby and I think it was somebody else in the article that were mentioned.
Quick one before Ash goes, Gov. Ash, do you think Piggott? You're saying Piggott held the ball up nicely and, Murphy-esque. Do you think he would benefit from playing in a 2 rather than just being on his own up top?
Yeah, 100%. Bon and Piggott are 2 different players, like you alluded to earlier. Yes. They're not the same in any way at all. One wins the ball, the other is just. I think Bon's a perfect striker. He's got a bit of everything. I mean, if you look at that first goal we scored last week, absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
And you know, Piggott has got that in him as well. He's single-handedly kept Wimbledon up the last 2 seasons. Come on, we need to give the guy some credit and some time to settle in as well. And he scored yesterday. Albeit it's a penalty, it's a good penalty, but you know, you've got to take the chances when you get them. So
absolutely, Ash, appreciate you.
Oh, I was going to say one more.
Go on. Yeah, you got him. Go on.
Ash, for those of us who can't make the games, like, what's the atmosphere like? Is it turning toxic? And how are the players reacting to that?
No, it's not turning toxic at all. The atmosphere is really good. Absolutely, actually, it's probably the best I've seen in a while. I remember there was a peak during Lambert's tenure where the atmosphere was incredible. It coincided with when Blue Action came in. I think it's West Brom at home, and we lost 2-1 on Sky. I think it was on a Wednesday night, Friday night, something like that. And that was electric. But from there, it just went downhill. We're on a increase. The crowds have even gone up. I mean, the crowd went up from last week.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
I mean, it went up to 19,000, which is a surprise. I expect it to just go down a bit more, but it's exciting football, okay? And I think that's what's important. But if they want to keep bums on seats or people in the stands, they need to do better. And I think that's the important thing going forwards. And by the end of the season, we could have 22,000+ in every week. And I don't think we've got any problems with that at all. I think the fans are on board. But yes, 10-game mark, very important. Get 2 or 3 wins in the next 5, and yeah, it's completely different complexion.
Absolutely, yeah. And on the atmosphere there, Kate, where Ash sits is section 6. I could see him from my seat yesterday, and the noise they make is incredible, particularly with the drum. But there's a ripple, and it gets to about the right behind the goal. I don't know what section that is.
Section 4.
It dies on its ass. Literally,
yeah.
It just dies. You see it. It's like the wave. It just goes boom, dead. And you're just like, come on, guys. You're literally there. As I say, you got one job in that north stand: sing your hearts out, come out without a voice, and leave it all as you want the players to in Portman Road. And section 4, yeah, pick your game up. But Ash, been a pleasure. Hopefully, speak to you again soon. Look after yourself. Going to recharge those glasses now because we are sponsored, of course, by Away Day Beers. You can get an ITFC Legends Pack for $14.99. My favourite is Hoppy Robson, but the Bundeslager is equally as good. Sadly, I can't drink at the moment, though. And last night, I could have done with the packs that Duncan has sent us so kindly. I could have done with 4 or 5 of those. But do drink responsibly, please. Responsibly drink. Kate, I'm going to ask you a question before we bring somebody else in. News stories. Might be a very basic question. Might be a question everyone knows. But you see news stories come out this morning, such as Christian Walton from Brighton. As a reporter, how does that process work in the sense of where has that come from? And just talk us through a little bit of the process with that.
Okay, so nowadays it might be completely different with social media and WhatsApp groups and things like that. So that did not exist really when I was a reporter in the UK. So yeah, I don't know how much of that is a factor. You do wonder if the player's agent is sort of whispering to people in the tabloids, and then the player's price goes up and up. So there could be that. I feel like at Sky, we would get little tip-offs. Of course, like you got to sit on it to see what would happen. I feel like we would get tip-offs maybe like a week before anything official happened, or maybe I remember in my SGR days. Okay.
Wow, what a name!
I'm really dating myself now.
The Nick Wisby show.
Yeah, I remember things like maybe estate agents would be showing around the footballer and his wife, or someone's wife would be spotted, and then that's how we would find out, and then a week later the player signed. Yeah.
Because we got 2 this morning, didn't we? We got Christian Walton and Sam Morsey, a guy that's been linked all summer long. And you just feel like with this one, Matt, the Morsey one, that's more likely to be the one that gets done, just because it's rumbled on so long. And when it comes down to it, we've now got a deadline, Tuesday. and clubs suddenly get a bit more serious when it comes down to a deadline, don't they? And
the clock is ticking.
Talk start firming up, and so do you see that one?
Yeah, well, I do. Yeah, because Caddy mentioned it to us at the end of last season, didn't he? That he thought that could happen. And of course, Morsey was Cook's captain at Wigan and Chesterfield, I think it was. And he got sent off yesterday with a straight red. So he just put the foot in. So maybe that's the bite we're missing. But we said last week, didn't we? We feel like we haven't got the captain, and Ash said exactly the same there. I think Evans is captain by default. I'm pretty certain Sonny Bradley, if that rumour was true, was who he wanted to be his captain. And I think probably Morsey is now on that list to bring some leadership. Certainly going to bring some bite when he can come back and play. He's going to be banned for 3 games if we do something.
I think it was certainly true, the Bradley deal. I think it was certainly, a big part of their plan. But, he went to Luton. We stayed at Luton, as it were. Louis Fenton, Sam Morsey would be perfect for us. Victoria Henderson, no filter, no V. Ipswich Drummond a drink. Level of my hangover can only be judged by the fact I showered with my sunglasses on. One thing to be said, we have got another sponsor on the show. It's Manscaped, of course. Do not have a pack of these and then go and Manscaped. Can't be commenting on that one, I'm afraid, Matthew, on a family show. But manscaped.com, make your testes their besties, 20% off with the code TT. I think this man used it the wrong way because he's got no hair on his head. The fisherman's been manscaped and on his head, 20% off TT. How you doing, Mike?
Yeah, I'm good, guys. How's everyone, all right?
Yeah, a bit pissed off, bit down in the dumps.
We're down in the dumps today, Mike. There's no getting away from it.
Our fantasy football team has developed gelling issues. How are you? You're on a bad signal, so we'll try and run through it. What are you feeling, Mike?
Well, man, somebody else. I've got a good signal out here. I don't know what's going on.
We can hear you anyway.
Yeah, you're moving at a speed as if I've had a few away days already.
Stephen Ward.
Stephen Ward. Yes. Go on, Mike. Sorry.
Go for it.
Yeah. Look, last night I was pretty rattled. I ain't gonna lie. It's just not working, is it? Cook is this, one up front, no support in the box when we've got balls wide. It's just not working, is it? I mean, look, Cook's black record from last season, this season. People say, "Oh, you can't go on last season." Well, yeah, you can, because he took a Lambert side in 6th place and finished him in 9th. I know it was different players and all that, and we could argue that some of the players didn't want to play for us and that, but it's just not working. Look, people saying, "Oh, he's got coaches around him," but let's be honest, Roberts, I don't rate him I don't see him as a good coach personally. He's lack of experience really to get sort of promotion teams. And Wimbledon yesterday, I watched the game on the TV, and again there were so many gaps in the midfield. Sometimes they just played through us, and he just. And I agree, Evans for me, no, he needs a bit more aggression. There's not enough aggression from him. Harper was missing. Piggott, bless him. People saying, "Oh, he's not right." I don't understand why Cook bought him if he's going to play him up front. He's never played up front on his own in any team before, I just don't understand. I don't understand some of the tactics. I can't get my head round. Look, Hladky, again, yes, he was at fault for that second goal. No two ways about it. Should have grabbed that with both hands. And if that had been £100,000 thrown at him, I guarantee he would have grabbed it. Do you know what I mean? There's no two ways about it. As a goalkeeper, you've got to grab that ball, haven't you? Really? What?
I never use this button unless you're on the show.
Why are you throwing that up at me?
Because you can't be saying things like that. But for me, though, the first one he's also got to be at least getting a hand to. He's not played a great start. Let's be honest, he hasn't. But the first goal,
I'm not.
He's got to get a hand to. I don't know, Matt or Kate, Roberts, maybe my inexperience, but I don't necessarily look at us and want to be blaming the coaching side.
Well, I do kind of get what Mike's saying there. And Arsenal have seen it of Arteta, aren't they? He came from Man City. He's gone straight into the Arsenal job as a rookie manager and now getting found out. I always think people should go back to their grassroots. You know, Arteta should have gone back into, I don't know, the second division of Spanish football to learn his trade and then build yourself up. Just because you've been minted by Pep Guardiola doesn't mean you're going to be any bloody good. And the fact, what did Cook see in Roberts to say, come to Ipswich Town to be one of my coaches? As Mike says, he's inexperienced. He might be a really good coach. We don't know. We're not there on the you know, day to day. But you know, I would prefer that more experienced head to come to a club of our stature.
We don't have an. This whole situation's got Lambert's written all over it. Again, no decent number 2. You know, I've been a manager. I've been a coach. I've been on an assistant coach to a manager. I'll tell you, they're 2 different roles. They really are 2 different roles. You know, to be a manager, you have to be something completely different as a coach. When you're coaching the players, whether it be positional play or whether it be just simple, you know, passing and moving, you know, a manager deals with the sulks and the strops and the, you know, and looks at things completely differently. And I think you do need that yin and yang, and I just don't think we've got that. We never had it with Lambert, and we haven't got it with Cook. There is no someone on. I mean, he needs Richardson beside him. You know, like Lambert needed Culverhouse, somebody to bite him in the ear hole and say, "Look, no, you're doing this wrong. Look, this is my opinion. You know, you may not agree, but let's try it. And I think in football, you do need that yin and yang approach with you know, with management and coaching, and we haven't got that. And I think that's going to be Cook's failings. I was worried about it at the start. That was my only concern. You would play back on videos that I've said it before, and you know, look, I wanted Cook to do well. I was happy when he came in, but when I found out, like I said, Richardson weren't coming with him, alarm bells started going. And look, the reality is we've got to go on last season. You know, he came in and there was no manager boost. Everybody said it on here today. No manager boost. Kate, you were spot on. There was no real manager boost. We were in 6th. We finished in 9th. We've only won 4 games under Cook since he's came in. And no one goes, oh, okay, well, they weren't his players. But good managers still get the best out of players, even if they're not that great. You know, and I don't think it's going to...
Of personalities, I'm really surprised that Roberts is in coaching, because when he was at Town, he was such a lad. Like, I remember all the stories that we reported on, and I'm talking about stories off the pitch, not on the pitch. And so, you know, it's pretty surprising that someone of that personality has turned it around and is now like in a serious role coaching.
Yeah,
totally agree with you, Kate.
You could say the same about Jeffers as well, couldn't you?
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. You know, I just think it's not working. We look.
All I would argue against those points is when you look at Cook's track record or his coaching tree, if you like, they're all good coaches. They're all going to be really good coaches in the game at higher clubs, at more credible football clubs. And you've got to cut your teeth somewhere as coaches. And I think we've got to sort of put a realistic spin on it. We're Ipswich Town, but Ipswich Town in the 3rd tier. Experienced coaches, if they're good experienced coaches, do they want to come down to the 3rd tier, or are you getting coaches that are on the way back down, or are cutting their teeth on the way up? And I think we're getting coaches that are cutting their teeth on the way up. Again with Lambert, you know, Matt Gill now in the Championship. People didn't like him or didn't like Lambert's coaching team, but you can't argue with the fact he's now in the Championship as a coach. We don't know where Roberts and Jeffers will be in years to come, neither Paul Cook. I'm seeing the same things I've heard about, though. But I'm seeing the same stubborn traits of a manager that Freddie at Portman said you're going to get.
Aren't we a team that's meant to be progressing, though? Or are we a club that's trialing these possible coaches? Yeah, do you know what I mean? People say, "Oh, we need to get Kieran Dyer in as a coach," but he was another one that was quite, shall we say, flamboyant or off the field. So, you know, in fairness, are we a club that's cutting new coaches' teeth, or are we a club that you know that needs, you know, we brought all of these players in, and we're now again looking at 2 more possible signings, which again we were told we're not going to have. We need to cut the playing staff, but we ain't. We're 27 now, I think, still on our books, and we could end up with 29. You know, and then You know, so we've got players that have dropped from the Championship playing for us now. So do we really want coaches that are cutting their teeth, or do we want coaches with experience? Because quite frankly, for us to progress, we need experienced coaches. We need experienced managers. And I love Cook. I thought he spoke really well, and he's a nice guy. But again, I'm really concerned that he's just not. It's not working. Well, for whatever reason, it's not working for him here. Mm. And sometimes that happens in management. You know, Arteta. I mean, Arsenal fans. I know many that want him gone. You know, he's clearly, you know, rated highly by Pep, but as a coach, not as a manager. It's
and that can happen. Yeah, a good number two is not a good number one for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Go on, Kate.
No, it's just, you know, it's not just football. You look at some of these like big companies in the States, and they went through obviously the pandemic, and they at the start of the pandemic, like they hired these young, flash, inexperienced CEOs, and they can't steer the ship. Mm. And now, you know, 18 months on, it's a disaster. You see it in real life. It's not just football. That's my point.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mike,
absolutely.
I'm going to bring somebody else in now, but I appreciate you as always. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for sharing your opinions. I don't know if I subscribe.
Talk about sliding door moments, Gav. Like Keane's number one choice when he became manager at Town was to have as his coach was Brendan Rodgers. And Swansea got in there quick and got him as their manager. That's sliding door moments, eh?
I just don't know if I subscribe to the coaching side being the issue. Like Freddie warned us against his negative traits, if you like, and we're seeing those now. I think when it clicks, we're going to be a good side that is too strong for a majority of teams in this division, which is probably why he got through at Portsmouth, because he built a very good team that Plan A was sufficient.
Yeah.
Mike did say we brought some players in from the Championship who were coming down. It's interesting that the player kind of letting us down at the moment is the guy stepping up.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe they try and go for a more credible goalkeeper and coming down like Walton or whoever, and let Hadladke sit.
Vicky did make a good point there, didn't she? We've got all these Championship level players coming, but a goalkeeper that's League Two, albeit on the periphery of getting promoted to League One. But yeah, it's a very good point.
Absolutely, yeah. I've got loads of people waiting. I'm not sure I'm going to get you all in because we're at 58 minutes already. But there is tomorrow's Talking Town Extra Time, which you will guaranteed to get on because, you know, we've got more time, as it were, on there. I'm going to go for Callie because I know he's very different to what Mike was saying. In fact, he asked Mike a question.
What do you mean Cook is Lambert-esque? Get out of here, man. Like, nah. Remember, this was a club that was rotting at the core, right? So we've seen, and credit to the club's comms team, like the marketing team and social media team, we've seen a lot of stuff going on at the club, whether it be, but we've got a lot more information in terms of what's happening, and we're seeing a lot more connection there, right? So all of a sudden, they're building that trust. The club is part of the community. They're trying to build that again. All of a sudden, we've got the backroom area sorted. Okay, forget the assistant manager thing for a second, but the coaches, the structure, we've got a chairman, we've got a CEO. We ain't got, you know, the PE teacher running around doing everything, right? We've got a proper structure. Now we've got the players, and slowly the quality is coming there. So then we look at that. Before we go into the stats and look at, we've only got this many points or whatever, the league was never won in August. We always started off well over the last 2 seasons. How did that end up, right? So let's just relax a little. Let's look at the games, right? I didn't see the Newport game. I've seen the league games. I've watched every league game that we've had, right? And no one can tell me there hasn't been improvement. It's a night and day from last season in terms of the way we are playing. For fuck's sake, we're scoring. We went 10, 11 hours without scoring a goal. Absolutely. Do you know what I mean? And now we're scoring. The ironic thing is our strength last year, which was our defence, is now our weakness in terms of we're conceding 2 goals a game as well. Now, I don't put that solely down to Hadladke. I know we talked about the game yesterday. Second goal, I've watched the highlights again. Yeah, he's at fault for that. First one, I don't think you can blame him for the first goal. Right? I think that. Yeah, but you know, it's one of those like. And also, the other thing we need to remember, I'm going to say it, and I know people hate this. The team is gelling. They're getting to know each other. Everyone has little mistakes. Harper makes a mistake in midfield, or Evans makes a mistake in midfield. we don't see too much about it because they're higher up the pitch or somewhere, right? And someone covers them. You know, same way Piggott makes a mistake or Edwards or whoever. Hladky makes a mistake, and obviously, like any goalkeeper, it's horrendous, right? It kills us, right? It concedes a goal. But on the whole, he's still making saves. I'm not saying he's our number one because I personally don't think he was brought in to be the number one. I just don't think they managed to get Holy out, right? That's just my feeling on it. So I think we're going to see a number one come in. I think he's sufficient as a backup. Even if we didn't sign any players now, and these are our two goalkeepers for the rest of the season, I still feel confident. I still feel confident.
I think you're right. I've already written my article this week.
Games, and it's like you know back when you used to play school, like year 11, you used to play like year 10s or something, and you start and be like, all right, we'll give the year 10s a 5-0 head start or something like that because we know we've got the strength. That's what we're doing with these 10 games. We're giving the rest of the league the 10 games little head start because when we start clicking, this is going to be on the cusp of a good championship team, man. We've just got to get off. Like, we don't need negativity at the moment. If after the Doncaster game we've seen no improvement, 28th September I think it is, right, which is a Tuesday, right? It's that Tuesday. That's our 10th league game. If after then we've seen no improvement in terms of points on the board as well, right? As in, I'm expecting a win to come in between now and then yeah, we can have a conversation. But I think he's the man. And I think there's enough quality there. The only weakness there, and I said it before, is our central midfielder. If we get that real, hard ass going to kick the shit out of someone type of player, then, we're settled, right? Because at the moment, Harper and Evans are too similar. And I think Evans, the game just passes him by a little. Whereas Harper, I know I harp on about Harper. You like that one? Right, I harp on about him.
You do, though. It's true.
I think he's quality, but he's a young player finding his game as well. And I think once he starts getting more minutes under his belt, like Edwards as well, they're going to have that kind of. They will play for more than 65 minutes because it's not just Rex. Like if you look Edwards as well, after about 70 minutes, whether it's fatigue or whatever, they're tiring off. But that will come. Like there is night and day from last season. I'm telling you, I'm going down there. I'm traveling 2 and a bit hours down the A14. Happy each way. A bit pissed off yesterday because it didn't feel like a defeat, I'll be honest, right? Especially the timing off the goal. Especially because I don't know where you got 6 minutes from. 6 minutes, come on, bro. 3 or 4 minutes, 6 minutes taking a piss. Yeah, right? But I didn't. And after, we chilled out and we left a bit after and I spoke and then, I felt all right, man. Stopped at KFC, on Anglia Retail Park or wherever it is, had my nice little KFC and then went back up and I felt nice. I thought, okay, cool, progress. Green shoots and all that. I think it will happen. You just got to be calm, is what I'm saying.
What is the clicking moment, though? What is that line in the sand? It's clicked. What is that moment? I just wonder.
When we get a fucking win.
I do think, and I've written this in this week's article, Paul Cook is the current head chef. But the ingredients are all there. It's now down to him to make the best a la carte meal he can. Because somebody else will. I guarantee it. Somebody else will come into this squad and it might be a manager that you don't expect because the squad is good. It's prime. It's a really good squad at this level. And sometimes as a manager, you can lose perspective and you start getting overcomplicated, Kate, like playing Scott Fraser wide left instead of central or whatever. But the ingredients for the first time in a long time at this football club are all there. It's just now whether Paul Cook can put it all together.
You asking Kay, innit?
Whoever, I don't mind. Somebody answer the question.
Because I was just going to say, in terms of it comes back to what Matt just said there about what is the moment. It is the win because it comes back to that thing about winning breeds confidence, right? So, and we've got the players, and I know, okay, we beat Swansea, and then we carried on and we lost in that championship season when we got relegated. The difference there, though. We had a lot of players playing up in terms of stepping up from League 2 and League 1. We've got championship players here. We've got high-end League 1 players here. We've got the quality is there. So once you've got a win, all of a sudden these guys get tails up. That's it. The league is ours then. I'm telling you, 100 points, 100 goals still on.
Well, there we go. Callie, as always, it's a real pleasure to sit down with you and
Cheers,
talk
Callie.
football. Speak to you again soon. We've got Tom James. Best news from the past days. The coaching team now have 2 weeks to try and sort this out. We'll know from the next 5 games how good or bad this setup is. Universal doesn't care. The GP is delayed. I've driven the M25 is much worse, although admittedly not as fast and not trying to overtake everyone, but no one was paying me millions to do either. Louis Fenton thinks the Wickham game being called is a good thing for us because it gives Cook 2 weeks to try and work with the players. Is it a good thing then, as we round up, sort of over the hour mark here? Is it a good thing from either of you, Kate? Is it a good thing the Wickham games called off, or is it games that, competitive games that help at this point?
Rest for the bodies, bit of reflection time, bit of soul searching. Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. A good point there by Kate, Matt, about players coming back. The body healing.
I think even if we'd won that game yesterday, I wasn't 100% confident we'd go to Wickham and get a result, which pains me. It's bloody Wickham, for crying out loud. It seems to be this like dimension where really small clubs have done nothing in football over the years, and now we're going there going, oh God, can we get 3 points at Wickham? Oh well, it's where we're at. I think I agree with Kate. They can have rested up, they can work on things. It's almost like they can come back fresh. These 5 games, like Tom just said, next 5 games are going to be really critical because, once the 10-game mark is there, that's normally how the table starts unfolding, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's now got to wrestle back the fans because at 60 minutes it got jittery, and that's the sort of the start, if you like.
You could feel that in the stadium as soon as they scored yesterday, Kate. You could feel the wind go out the sails a little bit, and I thought we'd go on and score 3, 4, 5 yesterday when it was at 2-0, and suddenly it goes 2-1, and it's nail-biting time, isn't it?
Kate,
And we're at home.
And at home, against Wimbledon, another one of these small clubs. Didn't even exist 20 years ago.
Well, this is it. This is the frustration, professionalism, standards, and culture. Kate, we've currently got 120 watchers on YouTube. However, sadly, only 27 have hit the like button. So please do hit a like target for these 120 people. What likes would you like? How many?
Let's increase it by another 150.
Wow. So you want 180 likes. Wow. Okay. Right. There you go. Get liking the show. Daniel Hill at 2-1. Felt like it was 1-1, which isn't good enough. Leone says we're now welcoming the international postponements with open arms, which is true.
I hate international week as well.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we're not playing because I always think it's just that's a whole new level of tin pot I can't cope with. Norwich fans, sat at home, not worrying about and it's us playing. We can
exactly. Talking of tin pot, Kate, you might not have seen it yesterday. Donatian was about to come on as a sub already, balls up, left his shirt in the dressing room. He had to run down the touchline to the dressing room, get his shirt and run back again. That was tin pot. That really pissed me off, that.
One job.
How can you forget to put your playing shirt on as a professional footballer? Unbelievable.
Standards and culture. Standards
and
culture. And, I imagine having listened to Mark Ashton in the Q&A Monday morning, that'll be a conversation they're definitely having, if not already, because that's embarrassing. That is the dog and duck FC.
It really is.
Do you know what I mean? And you're paying all that money and there's a good budget out of the football club.
Kelly making a good point there, mine, about Aluko. Is Dobra going on loan to bring Aluko into the side? Because that seems a weird signing to me. I've been seeing him for the first time. He was the first person I ever interviewed at the FA Cape. I had to go and do an under-19s game at Notts County. We were playing Czech Republic, and I interviewed him after the game. And, he was like up and coming at that point. But I don't know, he seemed well off it yesterday to me. That seems a weird signing to bring in, especially to allow Dobra to go on loan. I think I'd rather have Dobra playing than, Aluko on a year's contract. But I don't know what everyone else thinks about that one.
Aluko needs minutes. That's what I would say. He looks a player that's woefully sharp of game time, and he just looked a bit off the pace. But he didn't do anything that Dobra didn't do the week before. They're both at personally, I think both should be away from the squad because neither are the answer. If they're the answer to the question, I don't want to know.
Chris from West Brom tells me that every time Aluko goes to a new club, he tells them a different way to pronounce his name. Because I noticed they're calling him Sonny Aluko. But when I interviewed him, it was Shawnee Aluko, and now he's been called. I'm told he plays a little trick each club he goes to, so you get a different pronunciation each time.
There you go. Daniel Hill, Matt, you're right. That delay probably added 2 more minutes on at the end and cost us the goal.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Before we go, let's just touch on Cookie's substitutions because they were a bit odd. JD at right back.
That was weird, wasn't it? I mean, Burns was obviously injured, wasn't he? Burns was obviously injured, so we know he was coming off. But why? But why KVY? I didn't get that. I didn't get it.
Yeah, did you feel he tried to match up Wimbledon? Because Wimbledon changed their whole left side, and they brought on Nesta Guinness Walker.
Yeah,
Peters, is that his name?
Nesta Guinness Walker. Yeah, he didn't start. He was like a mainstay player for them last season. But again,
him.
Yeah, good player. I know you wanted to sign him, didn't you? As one of the things that come forward. But even that kid they had in the middle looked like Messi from way back. Adam Woodyard, I think his name is. He was playing for Braintree near me and Sid Driver about 4 years ago. And suddenly he's in the middle there, bossing Evans and Harper.
I just didn't get the substitution, Kate. No. I just felt maybe he tried to counter their fresh legs and their pace with their own fresh legs. And I thought JD did really well when he came on. This is not a knock on Janoy Danastian, who I thought probably played better than KVY did at right back for the short period he was on.
I do like Janoy.
I just felt we went blunt all of a sudden. And then obviously Penny went off for Coulson, who was having cramps.
He played well. I liked him.
I love Coulson.
Really good.
Love Coulson. Yeah, he reminds me of Cresswell. Yeah,
he's tenacious. He takes players on. He gets back really quickly to make the tackle. Really good signing. He was probably man of the match for me. Well, probably Burns was man of the match for his impact on the game. But Coulson certainly was a 7 out of 10 for me yesterday.
Absolutely. Right, we're back tomorrow, 8:30, Talking Town Extra Time. We have got people coming on the show that sadly didn't make the shows today, which is always great to hear. We'll pick out some more things from the game. We've got the Prediction League. Do you know, the Prediction League, before I do go, only like 8 people got points this week. And not one single person, 9 people, got 3 points. Not one person, though, got the spot prize, Cambridge versus Bolton score right. Not one person. Not one.
What was that score? 2-1? Was it 2-1 to Cambridge?
No, it was 1-0 Bolton. 1-0 Cambridge.
1-0 Cambridge. They're now 10 places above us, aren't they?
I was going to say they're 10th in the league.
Shocking. But yeah, we'll discuss that. We've got fantasy football. Oh, while we're here, do not forget, we are running a prize draw on our Instagram. Follow our Instagram for the chance to win the prize worth up to £100. It'd be a little bundle of goodies, I'd have thought. All you got to do is go to our Instagram page, hit the follow button, and then you're in the draw. If we can hit
you do offer 400. Some great prizes, Martin. You do offer some great prizes for just hitting a button that takes a second.
I try. I think hitting a button is the best thing you can do in life. But up to 400 people, we need that though. It's got to be over 400 come 9:25 tomorrow night.
Okay.
If it isn't, then I'm not going to do it. Simple as that. So get following, get your mum to follow, get the dog to follow, get every single person you know to follow. All the people up there that sent cards, they should be following. Everybody should be following. I mean, those cards, I think, are for Arthur being born. He's like over near 2. So they need to come down, I think. But yes, we're back tomorrow at 8:30. Any final words before we do depart? Any final thoughts? Any final frustrations, angers, upsets, musings?
I've got to stop wetting the bed and calm down.
It's a way to end the show, isn't it? Stop wetting the bed, Kate. Matt, any final words to top that?
It's been great chatting to everyone and getting everyone's comments, from Ash to Callie, to everyone who's come on, Mike, and reading the comments and the thing. It's cheered me up a bit. But yeah, I was really despondent yesterday, and it's just like it's just reality in it. We've blown a 2-goal lead to Wimbledon, and now we're fourth from bottom, and we've now not got a game for a little while either. But maybe this can, we could just press reset a little bit and start again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go on,
Kate.
Your vote counts.
And vote for us.
Vote for us. Yeah. We're at 51 likes and 1 dislike. There's always one that dislikes us, and I don't know who it is, but I do.
Regardless of the content.
I get a kick out of it, to be fair.
The
YouTube YouTube algorithm call it interaction. And so it doesn't matter if it's likes or dislikes in reality. I mean, obviously likes are better than dislikes, but it's all interaction. So thanks for hitting the button. Yeah, we're done. We're dusted. Back tomorrow. The ladies are drawing 0-0, I hear. But as the end song says, we're on a journey.
We're on a journey. Looking back on the things that we've taken for granted, but feels like we're learning to be better without what's been holding